Coming up on today's video, we're going to be talking about WWE's Cody Rhodes. He's talking publicly about turning heel. Sounds like it could actually be happening. And we also got to talk about a top WWE potential signing. WWE is looking at somebody from the UFC, and they're in talks. We're going to talk about that. Plus, a WWE star is now officially retired. We're talking about it right here on the Angle Show. And if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button. I'm going to keep you guys updated along the way with everything happening in professional wrestling, news, rumors, hot takes, all that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep it covered right here on TAS. All right, let's talk about it. Cody Rhodes turning heel. What is the situation with that? He says it himself. The days as a babyface may be coming to an end. He was asked about this with Kay Adams. Fanatics Fest was just happening this past weekend. And, he was asked if he ever gets tired of being the nice guy. And he says that he doesn't really get tired of it because you get to have all of these moments, which he's talking about in regards to these fan conventions, going to shows, meeting fans. Obviously, Cody Rhodes has become like the new John Cena. He's an absolute fan favorite. The kids love him. He says, I do think we are probably at the tail end of it. Because there's only so much someone can like you. I would love to do it until the end of my career, but there's only so much. It's like, all right, we do as well. We cheer for them, but at a certain point, they want to see somebody else, and I get that, and that's where you have to change as a character. He also says, in regards to a timeline, he says, I think you have a good, solid year, maybe even 3 years. So yeah, he's not changing until he has to change is really the point. And, I found this to be really interesting because obviously The Rock came out and he's kind of testing the idea of Cody being heel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cody Rhodes and his heel turn after he left WWE and when he was doing the indies and stuff like that. But Cody Rhodes is a hell of a heel. I absolutely love this guy as a babyface. I do think it's going to be very interesting to see when WWE actually decides to do this. But I don't think WWE is in a rush. So let's just make that perfectly clear. I don't think WWE is rushing for Cody Rhodes to turn heel. Business is way too hot. Cody Rhodes is very much responsible, partially responsible, I should say, as a top babyface for the company. He's holding it down. So it doesn't really make sense for him to turn heel. But I totally like the idea of him turning heel. Now the question is, who would be the next big babyface for when that happens? As it stands, WWE has quite a few big baby faces. LA Knight, Jey Uso are two of the ones that come to mind immediately. But this is something to pay attention to. Who do you guys want to see become the next big baby face when Cody turns heel? That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph Park, aka Abyss, is now officially retired. Wow. He has no plans to wrestle again. He's very fulfilled in his role with WWE. You know what's actually really funny, by the way? A lot of people may not even know that Abyss is in the WWE, which I find so funny. But if you guys watched TNA back in the day, you know how big of a deal Abyss was. A lot of people don't even seem to know that Abyss was rumored to come in. I think it was WrestleMania 19. I don't know why I said 19. Was it 19? I don't know. I can't remember the exact WrestleMania off the top of my mind, but there was a WrestleMania where Vince McMahon was going to have Abyss come in and wrestle Undertaker, and they never obviously made that deal. But there's a lot of stories about Abyss that are really awesome. This guy is somebody who was one of my favorites when watching TNA. I look back at those days when it was on, Fox Sports Detroit. It was a regional channel, 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. That was the best time ever to be a wrestling fan, in my opinion. There's just a lot of nostalgia, I feel, even thinking about it. But Abyss was very, very, very talented in TNA, and he's had such a great career. Now he's in WWE 2K25, which, by the way, if you guys didn't know, his original TNA theme music is in the game, which is so cool, by the way. But he actually revealed this in a new interview that he has no plans to wrestle again. He has not wrestled since 2019. He's been very, very, very fulfilled in his role, in WWE. He's very happy with what he's doing in WWE. WWE has instilled a lot of trust with him as well, which is so cool because I feel like that means there's going to be some longevity within his career at WWE. But he did this interview with Fightful, and I just thought it was a really good interview. And the fact that he's retired is actually kind of sad. You know, it's kind of sad because in WWE 2K25, you could play as Abyss with his TNA theme song. It's just so crazy to think about in general. Abyss was never a character that appeared on WWE television. And, you know, between the matches with, you could have done, you know, WWE could have had him go up against Kane or Undertaker. They could have done a variety of things. And just in general, my point that I'm trying to make is that it would have been really cool to see how WWE could have booked him. Because I just feel like he's such a special wrestler. And obviously, with him retiring and calling it a career, the likelihood of him ever being on TV in the in-ring capacity is very unlikely. However, I'm going to throw this out there. I think this would be a pretty cool time to mention that if WWE ever wants to do something with him, and if he's ever feeling it, there's always that opportunity. But it doesn't look like WWE has interest in that, and nor does it look like he has interest in that. So, and that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen, is Mike Chandler coming to WWE. Mike Chandler came from Bellator, went to UFC. He may not win all the time, but he is one of the more exciting fighters in UFC. He's been rumored to be fighting Conor McGregor for a while. You guys actually might remember when Mike Chandler showed up on WWE Raw and even called out Conor McGregor from the crowd with the microphone. This guy is a very talented wrestler. He's a very talented MMA fighter, but this guy has the mic skills. This guy can cut a promo. This guy could get the crowd hype. And he actually revealed that he had a conversation with Triple H at Fanatics. So he says, I was talking to WWE, talking to Triple H about my WWE contract, and we're trying to make that happen. Triple H knows I'm a big fan of WWE and him and the brand, and he's obviously a fan of what I bring to the table from an entertainment standpoint, what I can do on the microphone. So it's always fun conversations. Who knows if anything is going to happen, but he knows that I want that door to be open, and I think he wants that door to be open too. So just keep in mind, 2024, February 2024, this guy was on WWE programming. Now it's being talked about that he's had conversations with WWE. WWE should absolutely sign him. I know sometimes people get weary about guys crossing over from the UFC to professional wrestling, but I just think this guy is going to do a great job. And honestly, I would love to see it happen. I can't sit here and act like I wouldn't want to see it happen. I would love to see it happen. In fact, you know, I think the idea of guys leaving UFC, going to AEW or WWE or TNA or whatever it may be, I welcome this. These guys are legitimate fighters, you know, and some people may not have the mic skills or the charisma to be a professional wrestler, but that's not an issue for Mike Chandler. And the one thing I will have to say here that makes me just kind of maybe think it might not happen soon is because him and Conor McGregor have been rumored to fight for a very, very long time. And then it got announced, and then Conor had to pull out because of injury. There are rumors that the fight will happen in early 2026. Don't know if that's true, but I'm going to assume that Mike Chandler and UFC will always come first before transitioning to the WWE. This guy transitions to the WWE, he's going to absolutely kill it. So that makes me wonder, do you guys like the idea of him joining? Let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to click that subscribe button because you never want to miss a video on this channel.